Yeah, it's one heart, one shot, now the future is yours. I'm turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the
All right, we are live. How are y'all doing? Hope you're having an absolutely amazing evening and that you've been having a great week. My name is 𝐏𝐫𝐞-𝐏 and this is 𝐏𝐫𝐞-𝐭. We're both physical therapists. We are also the co-founders of Pre-PT Grind and more importantly, PT school acceptance coaches. And what we want to do and what we do is we actually help y'all get into physical therapy school without wasting time or money. So if those are the things that you've been looking for and searching for, then you are in the right place. And what we do every single Thursday night, this is when we record these live and this becomes a podcast and all that other stuff afterwards. But what we do is every single Thursday night around 9 p.m. Eastern time, we go live inside of this group. More importantly, live because we want to interact with you. And if you have questions and things like that, we want to be able to, address them. But each week we cover a specific topic that is related to your acceptance journey. Literally, the goal is to help you get one step closer to your acceptance every single week. So I would tune in if I were y'all, but tonight is a pretty interesting topic, and we typically have y'all vote for the topics. And so you guys voted for this one, and it's how to make your PT school acceptance predictable without guessing your way through the application process. That's the topic for tonight. Like, how do I make it predictable? Because I think a lot of us have a lot of anxiety and stress about the application process because we think it's kind of like a hit or miss. And so let's dive into that. Let's talk about it because this is something that we have dealt with all the students that we have coached through the application process, regardless of where they were GPA wise or how many rejections they had. And then after tonight, we are actually going to be doing a 1.5 hour deep dive of this topic and more to really give you guys a clear path this coming Sunday. So if you haven't saved your seat for it, it's the 2021 PT School Acceptance Masterclass. We've done it many times before, and this time is going to be even better because each time we do it, it just gets better. And if you have not saved the seat or if you've never seen it before, go to leveluptheprept.com before April 11th. And save your seat. So, Casey, let's dive into this topic though, man, because this is such a key one for a lot of students. A lot of us are stressed and overwhelmed about this whole thing. I had a student today actually tell me specifically. She was like, "Well, like I don't know what the school wants. Like I don't know what they're gonna choose my acceptance or denial off of. Like, do I just try a whole bunch of things? Do I just work harder? Do I just get more observation hour? Like, how do I do this thing, right? It almost feels like guesswork, right? And so for you, man, and we've done this for years, and we've had to kind of have this conversation many times individually in group settings. I think we've done a live stream on this before. Like let's kind of break it down for a lot of the students that are in that state of limbo. Like for those of y'all that are live, how many of you ever find yourself like second guessing yourself as an applicant? You're like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it feels like I might just do all this work and then it just kind of leads to nowhere. And I think that's like the great stressor for all of us as students. It's the fact that we want to work hard, but what if we work extremely hard and it doesn't actually get us to where we want to get to? So what are your thoughts on this topic, brother?
Yeah, I think the good first thing to do is to manage your expectations as much as possible. Because at a certain point, it gets out of your control. When you hit that submit button, and there is your 2, 3, 4 years of work, 6 months of work, whatever you've been doing, all this pent up energy, all this built up stuff has now been hit and released, and now it is primarily out of your control. Now, there are some little things here and there that you can implement after the PT-CAS application is submitted, like you can still put in hours. Your letters of recommendation can still, or actually, no, that cannot be still sent in. Hours can still be sent in. Experiences can be put in. Things like that. You can still put stuff in. You can add schools after. So it's not completely over. But for the most part, it's like, okay, I've done all this work and now it's up to them. So just make sure your expectations are managed so that after you hit submit, you're not just like, oh my gosh, it's been 3 days, it's been 2 hours, it's been 4 weeks, what's going on? Like they have a whole thing going on their side, the school side, to filter all through these applications. Plus, they already have 2 or 3 cohorts of regular PT students that they have to manage. So if you can manage your expectations a little bit and be like, all right, I probably won't hear from them for a couple months, few months. If my application's on the lower side where I'm rushing things, I should manage my emotions and be like, all right, let's just say I won't hear anything back from December. Let me do something else with my life until then. So that's the first thing. Let's manage those expectations so you're not so anxious for the next 6 months or whatever, because it can be an emotional roller coaster if you're not ready for that stomach drop, especially depending on how your application is. So that's the first thing. Next, I'm going to go through some things more so on the technical application side. And Joseph, you can branch off from there and take it away how you want. But to make it predictable as possible, we have to give them as much as they want as you can. As much as they want as you can. So that means the base level requirements plus whatever extra you can give. So let's start with the big, the bad GPA. The big, the bad GPA. If you guys are on here or you're watching live or replay or you're catching this or watching the full thing, I'm going to be dropping some gems here and there. So if you're paying attention, kudos to you. So with GPA, if you go to the PTCAS applicant data report and you go down and see the GPAs that are averagely accepted, averaged out across all schools and all this, you're going to see somewhere around a 3.4. All right, I'm not going to go too much into detail with some adjustments you can make depending on the school. You can, but that's just going to be too much. Let's just leave it at what you have there on that website. So go to PTCAS applicant data report, scroll down to the bottom a little bit till you see the GPAs. You're going to see a little bar graph, and you're going to see average GPAs somewhere around a 3.4. All right. So if you can get as close as possible with the cards you're dealt, either at that 3.4 or above, you are making it more predictable for you to get the answer you want, for you to get that acceptance. I'm going to just keep it how it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, yeah, if you have a 3 point whatever GPA, I mean, let's just keep it real. It's better for us to rip the Band-Aid off now and just give you the truth so you can have time to make your application better on that front. So as close to a 3.4 as possible. If you don't have a 3.4, do not freak out. Plenty of people, you've seen it on our Inspire series, have gotten in with lower GPAs than a 3.4. So don't freak out. This is just general. How can you make it as predictable as possible? They have this 3.4 number for a reason. All right, they've studied you, they came up with this number, and that's why they averagely accept that number. All right, so that's the GPAs. Letters of recommendation. Do you have whatever letters of recommendation they want, plus whatever extra you can get? If your schools want 3 and you have 5 slots, are you doing what you can to fill up those 5 slots? All right, GRE, are you getting whatever the best score you can is for those schools, whether it's a hard cutoff or just a recommended, whatever that is. The deadlines, is it a rolling admission? Is it not? If it's a rolling admission, are you doing as much as you can to get it in as early as possible? So when they see it, then they can make the best decision for them if they want to accept you when they see your application or not. Now, with this rolling admissions thing, don't be like, oh man, they said on this live stream rolling admissions, I got to get it out on July 3rd, let's go. And it's crap. Don't wait till August 15th, wait till September 1st. Don't be rushing nothing just because I said rolling admissions can make it more predictable if you get it in early. It's not that serious. Don't botch your whole application just because you're trying to get it in early. But deadlines are important. If it's a rolling admission, do what you can to get it in early. If it's a regular deadline, still do what you can to get it in earlier than the deadline. You can hit submit on the same day and still get accepted. But we're talking about how to make it predictable, not about how to make this more stressful than it is. Then you got the essays. That's a whole thing. Just look out for a few months from now. We'll be doing a whole essay workshop, lab type of thing. But are you writing the best essays you can? Next, then you got research on your PT schools. You got observation hours. You got, then other than that, you have the EAM model. There's some more research you can do. What do they want? What do the schools want? What have they Seeing that makes the most holistic applicant. You say, I'm a holistic applicant, but do you even know what that means? Probably not, unless you've been paying very close attention to some gems we've dropped here and there. So to make it as predictable as possible, we got to start there with what they want. And can you even meet it or exceed it as much as you can? The best you can do that, the best you can understand them, the best you can play their game, the more predictable your outcome will be. So I'm going to keep it there. If we have questions here or on Instagram, we'll answer it there. But I wanted to start there for the people who are like, all right, I just need some technical, foundational stuff. Give me something to do and think about going forward. So that's where we can start. So yeah, let's branch out from there.
I love it. For those of y'all that are live right now, did that part make sense? Did that first part make sense? If that made sense, can you say yes or makes sense in the comments below? Because we want to make sure that that part did not go over your head, that it was crystal clear, because this is meant to help you guys out, right? Because, you know, once again, for those of y'all that just joined us here, the reason why we're talking about this is because, one, y'all voted for it, but number two, I think a lot of us just have this subconscious belief that applying to PT school is kind of like a game that you just kind of like hit or miss. Maybe, you know, some students get in, some students don't. And then we get stressed out when we see, oh my goodness, they only take 38 students at this program, and then 40 students at this program, and then 60 students at this program, which means that, man, like, what if it's not me? What if I do everything right and it just doesn't work? And then I think that whole thing just puts us in a loop of really just feeling like we're out of control, right? And so when you can start thinking about these things very methodically, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, there are things that I can do to actually become a lot more predictable and just know what's actually happening. And so perfect. I'm seeing a lot of yeses. I'm seeing makes sense. Excellent. So the other thing, and we will dive into this even more on Sunday. So for y'all that have not signed up for the masterclass, just go to leveluptheprept.com and save yourselves a headache. But the very first thing that I'll even add to what Casey just said, because Casey just dropped gems for y'all. Like, the first thing I'll add to that is you have to understand yourself and the things that will hold you back. One of the biggest predictors is knowing yourself, right? So one thing that, and it's so clear, like with the students that we've coached, the students that figure themselves out the fastest, like what their mental barriers are, what holds them back, what allows them to second guess themselves, what allows them to, like, maybe it's their, you know, like how quickly they shut down when one thing goes wrong and they feel like everything is falling apart, so they actually do nothing, right? So that becomes the cycle, and they're constantly in that cycle. Well, predictably, they're not going to be a very strong applicant, not because they couldn't be, but because all of those mental barriers really held them back from actually doing the thing. Right. So literally, on top of everything Casey said, that's such a critical part, because I think a lot of times we spend so much time like just panicking and saying, oh, like it'll show, you know, whenever it opens up, June 15th or whatever, right? Like whenever it opens up, I'll figure it out and I'll just do what my classmates are doing. And that creates more stress than you actually need. Right. And I'll dive into that deeper on Sunday. So that's the first thing I'll add. The second thing I'll add is piggybacking off of what Casey said. Like, focus on who really matters. The schools. Actually, last night, today is Thursday, right? Okay, cool. So last night, Casey and I spoke to a pre-PT club. We didn't even know this. So we were literally like sharing, you know, all, you know, how to stand out, you know, as a pre-PT. And the biggest part of that was knowing who you're applying to, because I think a lot of times we waste so much time like in forums, talking to advisors, talking to other pre-PTs who have GPAs that look different from us. And so when we see that, we actually freak ourselves out because we're like, oh, you know, the comparison game, right? And so basically what we told them was, we were like, you have to focus on the school. What does the school want? Like, there are human beings. And as we broke it down, there was someone that was actually on the Zoom call. Like, we didn't know it. There was someone on the Zoom call that happened to actually be a faculty inside of this specific college's DPT program. And she was like, yes. Like, she literally like told us from the inside, she's like, that's how we decide. Like, for the students that were there live, they got gems on gems from their own faculty within, you know, their own DPT program. So I hope they took notes and they're leveraging that. But it was just this reassurance that schools are seeing y'all very differently. One of the biggest things she was saying, she's like I see so many essays that are just the same old thing, just trying too hard and trying like being more interesting, trying to showcase all these things, and we don't care about that. Like I literally look at those and I'm just like boring. And she literally was saying that like students that actually show that they've actually spent time understanding that particular program and can actually use that within their application, within their essay and everything else, have a higher chance of actually becoming a strong candidate for that program. Like she said it, Casey, we're not program like directors, right? So it wasn't us. But that's how most programs see it. So if I want to become more of a predictable applicant, then I need to figure out who really matters. And the last thing I'll add, because Casey really did tell y'all like most of the gems already, the last one is go through your biggest barriers and not around them. A lot of the things that make you predictable are right in front of y'all. Like straight up, like I mean, listen, I'm just gonna say it like it is, right? So one of the biggest things that it's interesting, right? Because taking hard classes like chemistry and physics and all that stuff again sucks. Can y'all agree with that? Say sucks in the comments if you're like, that sucks. Like I don't want to have to take none of that again, right? And I'm with you because I did not like either of those classes. But one of the biggest drawbacks or holdbacks that we don't realize is actually holding us back. See, I said a whole bunch of backs in there. Is the fact that we look at our GPA. Like for example, if I took chemistry and I got a C- in it, and I know that retaking that chemistry class and getting an A in it actually gives me a drastically higher prerequisite GPA. And I know that that new prerequisite GPA is more aligned with the schools that I'm targeting and I'm interested in. One of the craziest things that like we do, and it's because we're human beings. So if I call you out, just understand you're in good company. We always do things like, man, but I don't want to have to take it again. So what we do is instead of going through it, we try to go around it and say, hey man, listen, I don't want to have to take chemistry again. So is there anything else I can do? Can I like do like 1,000 observation hours? But wait, no COVID. So I can't get no 1,000 hours. So then I'll do this. Oh, wait, but I suck at the GRE. What else do I do? And I'm like, yo, it's right in front of you. Like it's sitting right in front of you. Like go through it. So what does that mean? Does that mean just try over and over until you're frustrated? No. Start changing the questions you're asking. Instead of saying, wow, like chemistry and physics and the GRE and all that stuff, I hate them. They're so okay, cool. Who are you going to for help for that? Like, for example, chemistry and physics, I had 2 tutors for both. That's 4 tutors total. Yeah. And I still got into PT school, and yeah, I'm still a physical therapist that doesn't hurt people, right? So it doesn't matter. Like find help. Like start asking different questions. What do I need to change? Who do I need to go to? Where can I get help? I think sometimes we get so caught up in what we don't want to do that we don't realize that the very thing that we don't want to do is the biggest barrier to our becoming the student we need to be in order to get into PT school, in order to become a predictable applicant. Like this is just basics, y'all. Like right now, we're talking basics. We haven't even gone into like the next level of like standing out and all. None of that right now. This right here is where all of us get caught up. This is where a lot of students get caught up. And I think we lose perspective on the fact that yes, school sucks sometimes. Let's be real about it. It is what it is, right? Yes, certain classes are not the greatest. They're not fun. I understand. Casey understands. We were there just as frustrated as y'all are right now, right? But you're not doing this to get into a program. You're doing this to become a physical therapist, right? So if going through your biggest obstacles and going through the things that you don't want to go through, whether that's the GRE, whether that's finding help with those things, whether that's finding coaching, shoot, we have a coaching program, the Accepted System. Maybe you want to join that. I don't know. Like, but instead of going through those things, I try to go around it and I actually waste a lot more time and end up getting to the point where most students that do that quit. And now the thing that I wanted, I can't even get to. And I'll spend time thinking, oh, I was never qualified. I was never good enough. It was never for me. No, you just weren't willing to go through the barrier. real talk tonight, y'all. Real talk. So do you want to be a physical therapist? Do you want to be a predictable applicant? That's my question. That's our question. If you don't know where to begin, like I said, I keep saying it because I love that training. I'd sign up for Sunday's training if I were you. I'd go to levelupthept.com, sign up for the training, and we'll show you all the goods in there. But y'all, there's no secret sauce to this thing. There's no running away from it. And I think when we're able to zoom out, Casey, think of all the hardest things that we've probably had to do up until where we are now. Like when we zoom out and gain perspective on why the whole thing works the way it works, it allows us to go back in and say, all right, okay, I gotta retake this class. Dang, man, I don't want to have to, but guess what? I know where I'm headed. Oh man, the GRE, I need to change how I study about it instead of just flipping a whole bunch of flashcards. Okay, cool. All right, great. So like that's how we have to shift. And when y'all do that, you become so empowered. The person you become starts to shift. And now instead of putting yourself on a path towards potentially quitting on yourself, you put yourself on a path of empowerment and predictability. And we will be seeing you on the other side as an accepted student into a PT program, ready to get into the profession and have a good time serving people. So that's it. So I hope that made sense. Casey, what are your thoughts on that, man?
Yeah, you need to make like 3 different TikToks and a YouTube video on that last point, because it's the truth. It's the truth, because you want to stand out. And
people gonna get mad at me, man.
No, do it.
They gonna get mad because I'm saying the truth. You know what I'm saying?
That is really the answer to their question, though. How do you stand out? Is by doing that, because that is what's more impressive to the people who you're trying to impress than everything else. So if you can do that, you are standing out. So it's a huge epiphany that if you just blast out some content, some YouTube, some TikToks on it, eventually to the right people, it's going to finally get through and that can change their life. So that last point was everything. So that's it. Levelupthept.com. That's all y'all need to do.
Go sign up. See y'all on Sunday. Side note, for those of y'all live, how many of y'all have signed up already? Say signed up in the comments if you've already signed up. And then if you haven't, go do it. And then come back and say signed up. And then invite a friend. And then invite another friend. Y'all listen, we're about to level up and have a good time on Sunday. I think there's almost 900 students that have already saved their seats for this weekend. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. But at the end of the day, y'all, this is work, but it's a beautiful work. It's a beautiful work that is in alignment with where you're trying to go as a future physical therapist. So let's help y'all get there. Let's do it the right way. Let's not try to cut corners and all that stuff. Let's do it the right way. And so that's the game, y'all. Y'all have a blessed one. I see some people saying they signed up. Go invite your friends as well. We'll see you there, Bradley. We'll see you, Christina, and everybody else. Much love. Y'all have a great one. We're about to go on Instagram. So if y'all want to join us there and hear us rant again, feel free to join us. Much love.